Well, I wanted to basically make a movie about what was happening in America at that moment. Most films that were made in Hollywood, I can't really think of a movie that was made during the time that made a social commentary on what was going on, that was made during that time. Yes, they make them about the Civil War, they make them about slavery, or they make them about the Korean War, but I mean, something that was really going on at that moment. Very few people go out and make a movie about that. It would be unrealistic of these two boys in America not to smoke pot. I mean, first of all, they make their money at the beginning through a criminal act of smuggling hard narcotics. They only test the narcotics by sniffing it. You don't see them using that narcotic. That's their device to get money.
But surely an awful lot of people who potentially might have liked the film are going to be alienated simply because the two characters are addicted to smoking grass.
Well, then they should be, well, I mean, the film basically is about people who are narrow-minded, isn't it? I mean, we're killed by people who are narrow-minded. Perhaps even our characters themselves are narrow-minded in a strange way. So I just have to relate again to the government reports that this is indeed not a harmful drug. Now, the cocaine is. The acid can be. But even under certain circumstances, the acid isn't. But we don't say anything good about the acid. The trip in the movie is a bummer. I mean, I don't think anybody would want to take acid after they see the trip in the movie. No. Grass, yes, they might want to. I didn't make it as a pronouncement to go out and smoke grass, but I know that that's what these people did and do. And
do you? Let me ask you this. Of course, you play one of the main characters. To what an extent do you personally identify with his philosophy? Is it your own philosophy?
My character?
Yes.
Well, I play the antagonist, in a sense, in the movie, and I don't identify with him personally. I identify with him as the mass that goes and fights the war for Captain America when he says there's a war to fight, and he goes and fights the war. I identify with him as Pancho Sanchez in relation to Don Quixote, or the squire to the knight. I think of myself as a knight, frankly, and not the squire, but...
And are they good people, though, you see, or are they misled people?
Well, I think that they're as good as their leaders, don't you? I think people are as good as their leaders. I envision in the movie a world without leaders, a world where everybody is clothed, housed, transported, and what have I left out? Fed equally and with no problem because of advanced technology. It's very rough. You see, it seems like the farther you run away from the establishment,
the nearer you get.
It's like you're on an elastic band, and suddenly you run so far away that they snap you right back into the middle, and you're suddenly in the middle, and you're surrounded by the establishment, and they're patting you on the back and loving you and pulling you to their bosom until you are no longer useful to them, and then they toss you away again. But that's a great problem, isn't it?
When people, especially older people, when they've seen the film, what has been their reaction? Have they been puzzled or mystified or what?
Well, someone saw the movie last night. I can't remember. I met so many people last night, but one of your people here, a reporter, who claimed that he was the great middle class, and that for the first time he'd always been against grass, marijuana, and for the first time, not that he was going to go use it, but for the first time he was sympathetic.
I've heard that at one period in your movie career you were blacklisted.
Yeah, I was difficult to work with. I mean, they thought that I was difficult because I refused to take direction. I took direction when I respected the man. If I didn't respect the man, and most of the time I didn't take direction. I insisted upon blocking myself and playing the role the way I wanted to play the role and not the way they wanted to play the role, because I couldn't figure why they had to have a preconceived idea when I'd been trained in method acting that the only way to approach things for the first time and not to have preconceived ideas, and for a man to give me line readings, to tell me when to pick up a glass or when to take a drag off the cigarette was absurd in my method.